Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this February 17th, 2023, a Friday. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. Now, there's a war ongoing right now, and the United States has hit Russia with sanctions, and it's not favorable, to say the least. And also the United States has been supplying Ukraine with weaponry, and the Russians, basically, the way they look at it is it's a conflict, and conflictors will do things to try to destroy the other side. It's as simple as that. And I'm going to tell you what: the Russians and the Chinese and the BRICS nations have been storing up gold for a very long time. Okay, what am I trying to say? Well, there was this guy who built this big giant tank, and it was a bulldozer. He turned it into a tank, basically. He was mad at the city or something. I can't remember. I remember seeing it on the internet, the story about it. Anyway, well, he went on a rampage with this bulldozer, an enormous bulldozer, through the city, tearing the city to pieces, and they couldn't stop him. It was an enormously big, powerful machine. Well, that's kind of what America's like. It's an enormously big, powerful machine. Like picture a big semi-truck or a giant bulldozer, you know? But what happens if you go and you cut off its fuel supply? That little line that runs from the fuel to the engine, what if that line is cut, severed? What happens? Even though that's a big, powerful machine capable of a tremendous amount, if you cut that line that feeds it, it just stops. And how would that line be cut? That's the line that's in our financial system. That's the line that runs everything in this giant machine, which is the Western system, which is NATO. It's the economic system, the economic engine, if you would, that runs the whole show, that moves the giant machine. Why have they been storing all that gold away? Well, do you know what they'll do to our economic system if suddenly they take and they move their economic system back to gold as the foundation behind their currency units? Being as ours is floating free with nothing backing them. Gold always has been, for thousands of years, the unit of measure whether something is worth something. Gold and silver. That's why I talk about gold and silver, silver and gold and silver. Is because it's the fundamental basis behind our entire economic system. Always has been. And believe me, times of trouble, they'll revert right back to it again. And especially if this is what they're planning. They're not planning on buying all that gold and silver just to sit it into a vault and look at it. They're going to use it to try to gain power in the world. Now, what has the West been doing? They've been doing something called rehypothecation of their gold. They've been selling their gold on lease, what's called lease. So the government gets control of the gold. They control the gold reserves in the West. Government and also the bankers and the big shots. They got control over the say-so. So basically what they've been doing is saying, oh, it costs us so much money to store this gold. There's storage fees and everything else, right? They say what we'll do is we'll draw up a contract that says that we'll sell the gold into the market at X price, whatever the price is right now for gold. And then because we sold this gold into the market, the price of gold in the future will probably be cheaper than the price of gold is right now when we sold it. So then we'll buy it back later and restore it, and we'll save all these storage costs. And on paper, everything looks good. So this is what they've done. It's rehypothecation. They've taken the gold and they've what's called leased it out. which is basically selling it into the marketplace. So what happens is they have it's all legal, it's all legitimate, it's all signed and dotted, and the dotted lines and the T's have been crossed and everything, right? It's all legitimate, guys. But they sell the gold into the market, and that gold disappears. Where does it go? It's shipped over to China and smelted down into 1 kilogram size gold bars and stacked away in a vault on the Chinese side, with the hopes that the West says, well, we'll buy that gold back in the contract. I don't know how long the contracts are for, but I know that they did this in tremendous voluminous amounts of gold a few years ago. I don't know when them contracts are going to come due that they have to replace that gold. I'm just saying, guys. But what I can say is over in the East, Russia and China, they've been accumulating all this gold, and China's a major producer of gold. They dig it out of the ground there, but they save all theirs. They don't give any away. Plus, they buy a whole lot more of the West's gold and ship it over there to China. They've been storing it away for years. They're getting ready for something big. Now, I'm going to tell you what, and I'll tell you what I think it is. I think they're going to make their currencies gold-backed to at least some degree as part of their weaponizing themselves to try to cut off this fuel line to the West, to try to destroy our economic system. Because if they can destroy our economic system, then they can take us down without any problems. One of the articles I want to point out here is Ukraine is burning through ammunition faster than the United States and NATO can produce it. They got plans to produce more ammunition because Ukraine needs more and more and more. And it says running at full tilt. Scranton ammunition plant churns out roughly 11,000 artillery shells a month. That may seem like a lot, but the Ukrainian military often fires that many shells in just over a couple days. So, honest to God, it's well, you've all heard, it costing a lot of money. And what if they stop sending Ukraine ammunition? Well, I mean, their guns will go dry in no time. I mean, them barrels, they've been keeping them red hot. To try to stave off the Russian advance. And the Russians are just, every time they're doubling down. They're like, okay, 700,000 now. We're going to 700,000 new troops. So what's it going to be next month? Well, 1.4 million. Well, if that doesn't work, they'll go to 2.8 million. They'll go to 20 million if they have to. You know, and so, I mean, it's just one of those things where at a certain point, I suppose they would run out of men. But it looks like the Ukraine might be going to run out of bullets if this keeps up. So, I mean, what a time of it all. Anyway, moving on to other stories, let's take a look at the silver price today. $21.59. It's up 4 cents on the day so far. I'm expecting that I'm watching for this downturn in the markets because of the Feds. They just cannot continue to keep drawing liquidity out. Everything's going to start turning down because I'm going to tell you, the consumer out there here in America, they're running out of disposable income. They've charged up their credit cards since 2020 until now. What's happened is it's drained everybody's pockets. But a lot of people out there still have fairly deep pockets that are supporting the rest of the people who are drained. And it's a massive amount of people. I mean, in the millions of people that are drained now, and they haven't got 2 pennies to rub together. And so this is going to start to affect the general economy in a big way very, very soon. So we're seeing the silver price go up a little bit today, but still it's way below where it should be, guys. right now. It's been held underwater for so long. Picture, that old analogy of it's like a beach ball being held underwater. A gold price, I just click gold. Should come. Chart should switch. I'll click it again. No, there it goes. 1836 for gold. It's up 70 cents on the day so far. Still, both of these, gold and silver, have been held underwater for so long, especially silver. Oh my gosh. It's got so much catching up to do. Seriously, guys. Excellent. You'll never come across these opportunities again for buying precious metals, especially in silver. I could see silver easily going up to like $300-400 when it finally breaks free of this manipulation that's been going on for so many years. Bitcoin right now 24,126 and Ethereum's at 1673. Been a lot of volatility in the last few days in cryptos to the upside. See, I don't know why. Generally, if a market's moving rather steeply downwards, and stuff, they always say it's volatility. Volatility can be to the upside as well. It just means that there's a lot of movement in a particular market, and it's very, the price can be very volatile. Anyway, so let's take a look at Dow Jones at 82 points down today. I said yesterday it could be the start of something big right now, and the market's moving down. And I just got that sense that it's ready. It's so primed and ready, and I start to see these movements. If you start to see a few more consecutive days to the downside, it might start to catch momentum. 33,614 is down 82 points on the day. Taking a look at the S&P 500, 4056 is down 34 points on the day. Taking a look at crude oil right now. It's $76. It's down $2.49. Now, see, this is one of the indicators for me is the crude oil price. It can just smell crude oil and copper are a couple big indicators. And we see the crude oil price starting to move downwards. It can just smell a recession ahead of time. Well, I call it a recession. Actually, we've been in a technical recession for a while now. But what I'm expecting is we're going to move toward a depression. It's going to be an inflationary depression, meaning that prices will still be moving up while people are losing their jobs and losing for a way to pay for anything. In a normal system, you could never have something like that actually happen. It would move toward deflation. But we're not in a normal world right now. This is why you can have something like prices moving up while nobody can afford to pay for them. Normally that would people would lower prices in order to get consumers to come back into the market. That's the normal way a market works. But this is not normal times right now. Let's take a look at bonds and rates right now, and we're looking at rising yields, but it's less than 1 basis point. U.S. 10-year right now is at 3.85, and the U.S. 30 years at 3.9. But we're getting some really high yields. Look at this in the 6 month. It's over 5% right now. It's just crested 5%. So these short-term yields are really getting up high. Dollar index today at 104.15, and it's going along sideways basically today. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.